When you turn on the left, you will see a lady who lives in a small hut and she's got kids, but her kids are always playing there. Speak to that lady. She will guide you to a little road to where you will meet the professor.
Yeah.
That is Africa for you.
Hey, that's how I give instructions. Welcome, Suzan, on the Staying Alive and Rich podcast. I'm super excited to talk to you today because you are a powerhouse creative. You're an actress, you're an author, you're a singer, you're a fashion designer, and we're going to touch on all those things, and we're going to talk about your new book, The Immigrant That Found Her Unapologetic Voice. You've also got your own podcast as well, called Unapologetically Black, which I love. But there's so much I want to talk to you about. Obviously, your Ugandan background, culture, woman, Australia, all those things. And this is your second book.
Yes.
You've written your first book as well, which was Unapologetically Black as well. And that was your little journey as a young woman growing up and some of the people around you as well. But this is almost like a biography. Now, I have to admit, I haven't read the book. I'm waiting to receive it because it's just come out and I'm super excited to read it because I'm always fascinated with creatives that have migrated to Australia and have started their journey and carving out their road, because there is some challenges and also some great insights that I'd love for you to share with us. So
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to start with, tell us a little bit how you got to the land of Oz first and how that journey worked out for you.
First of all, thank you so much for having me and making time for today, Maria. How I got here, I migrated from Uganda. It's in the east of Africa, so it will be East Africa.
Yep.
Yeah, Uganda. So I came here when I was 11. My mom migrated. She left me when she was 2 years. When I was 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She escaped the terror of, there was a terrorist and also a bad dictator, Idi Amin, who was terrorizing the country at the time. I have visions of us hiding under the ground.
Wow.
As a child, army soldiers and robbers would come knocking on people's houses to take young girls as wives and young boys to become teenage soldiers, so people would hide.
It's such a diabolical situation. I can't say that I know too much, but I know enough to know that it was a very, very scary place. And I guess for Australians here in Australia, we live in our little bubble. It's almost, we can't even comprehend the terror and the fear that you and your family would have endured during that time.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. So an opportunity came up, and my mom was working at the hospital at the time as a nurse, and in the evenings she'd go to the markets and she would sell things like chapati, which is like African food, and she'll make extra money to take care of us because they weren't paying her much. So an opportunity came, so she left when I was around 2 years old, came to Australia and started working, and her aim, her sacrifices, her endeavors was to make sure we study and then join her later, hence me being here.
You remained in Uganda when your mum came out here when you were 2. Who was looking after you in Uganda?
So my dad traveled a lot. I come from a polygamous family.
Okay.
People will not say that, but most African people kind of like, the culture is a bit so different, and it's so normalized that as a child you don't even realize that's what's happening. Yeah. So it kind of like plays up on your upbringing once you come to a society like Australia, and you know how life should live, and you're like, oh, okay, that's just kind of messed up that I was living in such a like it's a different world, and I've just felt like,
it's a cultural thing though, isn't it?
Yeah, but like there's parents who don't do that. But in my case, I was raised with my step siblings, and my dad was married to my mom, but he also had like other people I don't think women have a choice in how this is done. I think when you marry, you're marrying a monogamous. It's a monogamous marriage. It's your husband and whatever, and your parents sacrifice. Like, it's because there is dowry. They pay for you. For a man comes to your family, asks for your hand in marriage, and they will pay dowry. They will pay cows to your parents. For them, this is a gift. And this man has come, he's given us all these things, cows, hens, soda, money, all these things.
Yes.
It seems little, but when you live in Africa, that's like a price, like, oh my gosh, our daughter is being taken and this money is actually gifting us all these things as a family. Yeah. So your parents are trusting this man to take care of you. But then when you get in there, then they'll bring in other women. You don't really have a voice to say or to change that, because they've already paid the cows. They've already given all this. So you can't really escape that. You will have to just put up with whatever is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is it's a very kind of conservative, probably more than conservative way of looking at it. There is a bit of a cultural thing there as well. And obviously the man has that power. Yeah.
Right now it's changing so much, and Ugandan women are advancing and becoming boss ladies and taking charge in who they are and how they want their households to look like, not being dictated by culture beliefs that don't even equate to what should be right for a woman. And I think a lot of girls or women in Africa have undergone through that and not realizing, oh my gosh, this is detrimental to my kids, detrimental to me as a woman. And you just kind of suppressed in that those cultural norms that that limit women from finding their voices. But lucky my mom,
How brave is your mum, though, given that situation, her courage, like, that's unheard of. I mean, it is heard of, but the courage it would take to not only escape a relationship that is really only one-sided, right, but to escape the dangers of Uganda, the political and the social and all of that sort of stuff, and to come to a new country.
Oh, yeah.
With no one here. Did she have family or anyone here?
No, she had
literally no one. On her own. And to start, did she start in her field as a nurse, or did she start doing, was she working? As a nurse.
So she gets here, starts working as a nurse, learning to migrate, all that. You've left your children. Obviously, I was so young.
And that's the other part too. I'm a mother. I have 2 sons. To leave my children to leave them with a man to be raised by stepmothers, so that I can go and set a life up for them in a country I have no idea about as a African woman.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That is.
So, it was really tough. So I was raised mainly by my sisters, my older sisters, and they came to boarding school. They visited me. My dad was around, but was rarely around because of obviously other ladies. So he would travel a lot. So mainly us sisters, aunties, and you don't question that. Growing up in the African culture, you're taught not to question things. You're taught not to, you just don't ask, how do you go to your father, or excuse me?
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah, you just don't. I think you become subservient to just what's happening, and you just kind of submissive to it. And almost, I think, in a way, because it is part of the culture, and I'm sure you weren't the only child going through that, it was just what they did. And that was it. And if you don't know any different, you don't really question it. You kind of go, well, that's just the way life is, and that's it, right?
Yes, exactly. And the good example is there's this new Young, Rich and Famous, African Young, Rich and Famous. It's like a Netflix thing. And there is a guy on that show that has two girls with different kids, and 2 women that he married. But now he's not married to them. But when he has parties, they all come together. they once lived in the same household together until they kind of like separated. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Deja vu.
Like, yeah, deja vu. And I'm like, I can't believe we've been like, when you don't like, leaving that world and coming to Australia was so healing for me.
I could imagine
what life really was, and opening up your mind and now making your own decisions as a woman. This is the kind of relationship I want. This is the kind of life I want. I don't want that. I want this. And a lot of women get stuck in those relationships, like it become domestic. You know, you're beaten. You can't leave because all these, you know, this man has paid your dowry. Like, you've been sold to this man, kind of.
Yeah.
You're stuck in it. So it's
hard. It's a hard one, and I'd imagine too. Obviously, coming from if you're a woman that comes from a family that doesn't have a lot of money per se, and then some man pays this dowry. There's almost a level of shame, I guess, that goes with it as well. You don't want to bring shame to the family, and all of that sort of stuff. You don't
want to be the difficult one. Like, they see it as, oh my gosh, like, this happened for you. Like, other women don't even get selected. This person, so it's
Isn't that interesting? Like, we can't, as modern women here in Australia, you can't kind of even get your head around, you've been selected. You just kind of go, hang on, where's my choice in this? Well, I guess what startles me as you're talking about this is the lack of choice women get in this situation. It's like they may have initially fallen for someone purely based on looks, or maybe they haven't, or this man's just turned up to the doorstep saying, you know what, he's, whatever, I want your daughter, and she's almost expected to go regardless, not really knowing anything. And then, and then starting a somewhat life. But your mum, brave woman as she was, came to Australia, set herself up, eventually got you and do you have any other siblings that came to Australia?
Yes, actually came with my sister and my brother, and then my other siblings joined later. I'm one of 6 children.
Fantastic.
And my step siblings, they're like, I think I lived in a household of over maybe 30 or 20 people. And I talk about this in this book.
I can't wait. I can't wait to read this.
It's such an adventure. You're going to be like, oh my gosh.
I know. I almost don't want to disclose too much of it because I really want to read it and find out the full story. But I want to know more about you, because I know I've heard about you a lot in the media as a fashion designer and as an actress, and you've appeared in some famous movies, and you've also dressed some of the most famous celebrities, and I was listening to a interview that you did many, many years ago, and how you started it as a little girl dressing up your dolls, and how that kind of inspired you, or one of your mentors said to you, you need to really pursue this, you're very good. And I was like, wow. And you talk so much about having so much passion for what you do. And so I'm super interested in you as an individual, as well as an author, and everything else that comes with you. So going back to your journey to Australia, so you come to Australia, you're 11 years old. You probably do you speak English at this point or not?
I speak English because being colonized by the British, it's like you have to learn English from primary, like you just taught English. It may not be the perfect English, but you have an awareness of what English is.
That's good. That's good.
I could speak English, yeah.
So where do you come? Do you come to Sydney first, or do you
come to Sydney?
Yep.
And I'm like, first time catching a plane. I had never been on a plane. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in air. First time landing in a country, and I remember when we had arrived at the airport, I could not recognize my mom. Like, I didn't know who she was.
No way. Why? How? What was it?
I could not recall her. Like, I could not. Like, people were like, she's there, and I'm like, who are we looking at?
Because of course you were 2 when she left, and now you're kind of almost coming into your teen years. So that's a long time.
And I'm kind of like, oh my gosh. And my siblings had an idea, so they ran towards this woman, and I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, it's mom. Like, wow, wow, like, that's her, and it's, and I was like, oh my gosh. And there was that moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if we're connecting, but there's a bit of me also, like, I think that loneliness I felt as a child, kind of like, oh my gosh, like mom, because I craved that all my life. Like that. And I remember I used to go from household to household when I was younger because I would cry so much for my mom.
Oh.
So they would take me to aunties. They would take me to another auntie. They would take me to
try and fill that gap.
Yes. And sometimes my mom would call and it's like, how is she going? Oh, she's been crying the whole day. She's just craving because I needed that. So I was always around female aunties and this and that. And even my dad couldn't. Literally, there's a time my dad was just like, let's take her to this auntie. She will feel that satisfaction she needs. But I always longed. So when I finally see her at the airport, we meet eye to eye. And I'm like, I felt like I didn't know her. But at the same time, I'm like, I guess that's mom. And I just have to run towards it.
And did you?
I did. And I was so happy. Oh my gosh. I'll never forget that hug. For the first time I'm hugging my mom and I'm like, oh my gosh. Wow. I've been longing for this moment all my entire childhood. And I had a bed for the first time because I used to share beddings with my siblings, like my siblings, my step siblings. Sometimes you would be sleeping on the same bed with your brother, wherever there was a corner or in the floor.
When there's that many, yeah.
Like, because, wherever you land, you don't complain. You've got a bed, you're happy. Whether it's on the floor, on a mat. We didn't care about beddings. Like, how sometimes you live on a luxury bed and you have 7 pillows and...
Yeah. No.
You just lay.
You just find a spot and park yourself there.
And that's a good sleep.
That's a good sleep. That's it.
So seeing myself on a bed and it was like, that's your bed, that's your pillow, that's your beddings. Like, man, I will never forget like hugging that bed so tight. And she had dolls for me in the bed and she knew I loved dolls. She had some dolls in the bed and teddy bears and I was like so happy. And I had my own sandals, pajamas. She had pajamas for us. We had pajamas.
Gosh.
Oh my God. I was like, oh my gosh, my own. Because I'm used to like my siblings would go through all their clothing.
Of course. Are you the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
Of course. So you'd get everyone's hand-me-downs.
Every hand down, sister. Seriously, like Maria, like that was like my journey. So having like my own, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is for me.
Yeah.
Wow. It was mind-blowing. The first time crossing the traffic lights, because in Africa, like you have the cows, everything is crossing.
Yeah.
And I remember I will never forget when we were pedestrian crossing, right? And I had to press it, and everyone is waiting, like a bunch of people waiting. Okay, you can imagine me coming from Africa, never seen traffic lights, never seen pedestrian crossings, and you get on the traffic lights, you stop, and there's like over like 100 people stopping.
Wow.
And you're thinking, okay, why are we stopping?
What's this noise all of a sudden?
Yeah, and then next minute everyone starts walking and you're like, yeah, are they robots? Like, should I cross? Should I like? And like everything in my mind was like, wow. Catching the train for the first time. Like everything was new. First time having McDonald's, having ice, like ice cream we had in Africa. I had that, but McDonald's were the first for me. Everything was so new. Never been on a beach. So first time at the beach, first time everything. I used to go to the river and collect water on the bucket and put it on my head and carry that back home.
Wow. Do you know, Suzan, just you talking about it, and we take for granted here because, you've grown up in it, so you don't really think about it, right? You don't think about the crossing lights or Maccas or all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But looking at Australia through your eyes, through this conversation really makes me think, wow, oh my goodness, I cannot believe like you've just come from an area of the world, a part of the world where, I don't want to say the word primitive, but it is more primitive in terms of you don't have like you said, traffic lights. You don't have those things that we take for granted here. They're luxury things for Ugandians and some of the villages out there.
Yeah.
And you know what? It would be being, grown up in an area like that and just having all that around you your whole entire life, coming to a city would be like an overload for the senses. It's like, what do you look at first? Especially an 11-year-old child. Like, what do you look at first? Did you ever come here and go, oh, I miss parts of Uganda? Like, I'd imagine, being that freedom that you would have, I guess, as a kid, being a kid, playing with your friends, not having to worry too much about, like, I feel like Western society sometimes, we're time driven and constrained by time. Like, you've got to get up a certain time, got to go to work to a certain time, or school a certain time, homework, all that. Do you feel like, did you miss any aspects of Uganda when you came here?
I think the food aspect, but then now you can access that. It's not the same. Like, mom grows bananas in our compound, like where she is.
Yeah.
She grows African food because she loves it.
Oh,
but then I was like, you would miss the food because everything is grown from the ground. I wasn't used to processed food.
Yeah.
I was used to eating, and I think I appreciated the luxury of what this country was able to offer me. Back in Uganda, you could eat the same meal from Monday to January, like from Jan to December, November. Then December is when we would have chicken or meat, or like that's when we could, my parents would spread out and you have like, chicken. It's precious. During Christmas time.
We could do more of that here too in Western culture. We could eat a little more sparingly. I feel like.
But my usual meals was beans, like from Jan, beans, greens, like all the vegetarian meals, but the same constant things every day, like. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't.
I can't do another bean.
I can't. I would get trauma just watching beans. But then, and also the boarding schools were the same. So when you would have a special occasion and you saw it was like a treat.
Yeah.
You would appreciate it. The weather is similar to Africa. Like, I love the weather and it's always hot. But just because it's too humid though. Yeah. Because Africa is, it's on the equator. So kind of like moderate, but I love the sun compared to other countries who are like freezing.
At least you get a little bit of warmth. And you're in Sydney. Melbourne tends to be a little bit cooler and a little bit bipolar when it comes to weather. Like, you could wake up and it could be nice and warm, and by the afternoon you'd be freezing and layering up with puffer jackets. But Sydney's a lot more consistent in the heat.
Yeah, a little bit more consistent. And I think what I missed also was I had friends who, like, now I don't know where they are, or like, because we lived in the slums, so you either get out and make do of your life, or life circumstances do happen, and it's quite the common. So I would consider myself lucky, blessed, and I'm always grateful. I never take. I think that's what keeps me humble. Sometimes people make me like, "Oh, Suze, you're so different." I'm like, but I know my journey, and I know what it felt like not having that. But I think what I missed as a young child is, and I speak about this in my book, I talk about when we would get on the playground, it was an escape for us. We created things. We sang melodies at night, would camp under the fire because we never had electricity. And there was always load shedding where the country, it felt like disco lights, like, there is electricity here, there is no electricity here. You'd have a little bit and then everything would shut down. So like, to even like have that, so we were always doing homework under candle lights. We had a lamp. So you would go to school and then you would use the lamp to do your homework. It was like,
wow.
And I remember we had like a box, like a Nike box, like that was our TV. And the whole village would, like all of us, the kids, neighbors' kids, anyone who didn't have TV would come and they would sit next to that television. We would all like watch wrestlings or films, like maybe 40 or 50 kids in someone's house.
Wow.
And it was like the biggest house. So you can imagine all of us camped there. But we're all glued on the TV like,
wow.
Rambo, wow. Like,
Wow. And then, it's crazy. But you know what? It's humbling. It's actually really humbling. I think many kids here in Australia need to hear that, because I feel like, we're so overexposed and we have so many things and the kids are spoiled for choice. And yet, as you said, you were in the slums and you either make it or break it. And, and if you didn't come out here, life would have been very, very different. Yeah, I'd imagine,
100%.
And Uganda is still going through political turmoil.
Exactly.
It's still not stable. It's still not. There's still so many social and economical issues that are happening there currently right now. So, the fact that you're here and you've taken the opportunity, and mate, have you seized the opportunity? Like seriously, you have. Like I'm in awe. Like I've seen some of your designs. I'm like, wow, this girl's rocking it. Like, so tell me, so you come to Australia, you start school, so that would have been a bit of a culture shock as well, coming from Africa, you're in Sydney now, you're going to, local school, I'd imagine, and, trying to
Not
make
a lot of dark-skinned girls with braids, and everyone, like, it was very artist. Like, so you rock up with braids, you're thinking it's quite normal.
Yeah.
And then everyone just looks at you and they'll hold your braids like that. They're like,
what's that?
Like, who's that girl? And some people are not receptive of who you are. They're kind of like looking at you like, who is she? So it was just quite, it was challenging kind of navigating those waters. Even on my street, like when my mom resided, where she was leaving, we were the only Black family. The neighbors knew us. The neighbors knew us, yeah.
Bless.
So like, that African family over there. And they would always come and say hello to my mom because they knew she was the nurse on the street. Everyone was Caucasian, And so it was very different. We didn't have a lot of salons the time I had migrated in Sydney. So you kind of like had to learn how to make your hair or get your sibling to help you. There was one lady I knew that used to make hair, but even booking that was like months and months.
Because she'd probably be the only one.
It was quite challenging, but in school I made some friends that were all like the friends I made were of a different diversity. Europeans, there were some Lebanese, there was the Spanish, and
there's probably a commonality through them as well. I know my background's Eastern European, and I felt when I was born overseas, came out here when I was very young, and I almost naturally gravitated to kids that were of similar background or of that nature, immigrant kids. I just kind of felt because we and I'm wondering if this is the same for you. I think being a migrant's child, you're very much aware that you're different to what is to be the young Australian, female or male or what have you. So, I didn't play cricket. I didn't play rounders. I had a little bit of an accent. My lunches weren't Vegemite sandwiches. So you knew you were different, but you so wanted to be like the Aussie kid, right? Yes. I wanted the blonde hair and the blue eyes and the freckles, but I couldn't get them. And, and I used to come home and say to Mum, why are you giving me this food? It stinks up the locker. Why can't I have a Vegemite sandwich like the rest of the kids? So she did. She bought me a Vegemite sandwich. I threw it in the bin. I'm like, oh, my God, how do people eat this? It's terrible.
Oh, my gosh. I'll never forget the time my mom gave me rice and stew. Yeah. And I didn't get to school and everyone is like, what is that? And the stew we would eat. Okay, so like my dad used to make bone stews and like just bones and sometimes they'll put like Carwinton stones. Like It's amazing.
It's so good for you. Now we call it bone broth, and Gwyneth Paltrow's made it really famous. So it's really good for you.
So like even right now at home, it's all we eat. We rarely eat like proper meat. It's like that broth. We eat a lot of that. So I remember taking that, and the kids were like, "Are you kidding me right now?
Like, what is this?
What is this?" The flavors obviously would smell like food and stew, but the kids were like, that's disgusting.
Like, where's your sandwich?
Yeah.
Where's your party pie?
And then I remember telling my mom, everyone brings McDonald's to school. Like, why can't you make us McDonald's? Like, why can't we take something? Oh my gosh. So she made this homemade burger. Oh my
I know,
gosh.
yeah, my mum's done that too.
Oh my
It's like,
gosh.
please.
And please no. And the lettuce is so huge and it's popping out. And I remember holding it and everyone's like, are you kidding me right now? I told her, just give me money. I'll buy noodles at school. I'll buy food at school. This is not working. I'm not cool at school right now. You're not helping.
You're not helping me, Mum. Back off. Just give me lunch money.
Just give me lunch money. And she just resorted to that. But like,
Poor
that was
mum.
just not working. I know. But I relate to what you were saying.
Yeah. I think a lot of kids, that have come here and, regardless of what background, I think culturally you kind of do know that you're a little bit different. So you do gravitate to kids that are similar to you that kind of get you a little bit more, just to make that journey a little bit easier. So you've gone through primary school. Obviously there was some challenges there. And then so how did you decide from that point that you wanted to get into fashion? Because you've been designing for a long time, right?
My teacher. So I didn't even know I had a choice in what I would do. So I remember in school coming from obviously an immigrant family and especially African family. The expectations are quite different from what they want from you. Your mom is a nurse. You know her struggles. You know how she got here. So they want you to get jobs that kind of like bring that financial money because she's not only looking after you, but she's got family back home. And a lot of Africans carry that weight. So you're not just leaving or for yourself. You're leaving for the rest of
your family,
uncles, aunties, everyone in Africa is looking at you for bread. For life. So there is that responsibility you carry. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my mom's like, I hope you'll be a lawyer. I hope you'll be a doctor. I hope you'll be in nursing. So those are the options they have for you growing up. What do you want to be? Don't even talk about music. Are you kidding me? Music, like I remember when you ask people nowadays, what do you do for work? I'm a rapper. I'm like, I look back and I'm like, obviously the generations have changed and I'm super grateful for that. Back then, are you kidding me? I want to be a songwriter. Are you like, what? What does that do for you? Like, that's what they would ask you.
I'm not going to lie, Suzanne. I say if my kids came home and said, I want to be a songwriter, I'd be like, are you serious? Okay, now tell me what you really want to do.
Tell me what you really want to do. That's a hobby. We don't bring it in the house,
Yeah.
Imagine like your kid telling you, Mom, after school, I'm going to The Voice. I'm singing.
Yeah.
And you're like, are you kidding me? That's your career? Like, that's what you want to do? But it's such a new generation now. But so for me, I had a teacher and she was my art teacher. She knew I did drama. She was one of like, I was so lucky because I always gravitate to older women. For some reason, there's always one woman that is in my corner that I always just tell things. So she knew how artistic I was. She knew I was from Africa. She knew how passionate I was. And one day I would tell her, hey, Mrs. Lara, like, what do you think I should do? Because I'm scared. My parents want me to do this, but do I even have a choice? Do I have a choice in what I should choose? What does that look like? And if I did that, does that even, like, how do I go about it? She's like, Suze, you're great at drama. You're great at making dresses. Like, we had an art class, but every time we had art projects, I would create gowns and I would be so artistic. And how I would do it, she was like, you've got a skill. It's obvious. It's there. You need to, when you finish school, if your marks are not the best, Suze, fashion school or acting school, you need to consider that. And I will never forget those words. Those words saved me. Because immediately after school, I applied to Raffles KVB, got into fashion design, and I did a Bachelor of Visual Communication, and I majored in fashion design. And obviously, when you do fashion design, they teach you textiles, they teach you that. But while I was doing that, obviously, when I finished school, our drama play was one of the best. So we went to theater and we performed that play for a period of time before I enrolled in university. So when I got into Raffles KVB, which was the fashion design school, I was like, okay, I need to look for work. By then I was working in factories, no one wanted to hire an African. First of all, they're like, Africa, you have no skills, you've not assimilated, you don't understand Australian culture.
Oh, wow. Really?
Oh, yes. Like I
Really?
applied in retail, like I applied everywhere. Everyone would tell me.
Even in retail, even in...
You don't have the skills. You've not lived here for long. This was like a while back. So now I'm like 36.
Okay.
That was a while back, while back when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? A friend of mine is like, Sus, just get in the factory. Sis, every black person is there. Come on, do it.
My God.
So, and when you go to these factories, you'd be surprised. A lot of black people are like the forklifters. But now it's advanced. Most people are kind of like, and even like now black people, that's why you see black people going for the lawyers, that they kind of like pushing themselves to do different things. Most black people do nursing and they'll just do, okay, I'll wash dishes and I'll do that. And I didn't want to be that girl. I didn't want to be the stereotype of all black people are nurses, all black people are in the factories, all black people are in the mining business because you make more money, you're hidden down there, you know? Why can't we be pilots? Why can't we be lawyers? Why can't we be designers? Why can't we be managers, you know, the cool jobs that everyone does. So for me, I was that child that always questioned things, always questioned why can't it be different for me. So I went to the factories and I was in a printing factory and I would print magazines and we were printing Vogue magazines, Mary Claire, like that printing factory. And I was like, that is me. Every time I would print it, I'm like, I'm going to be in this. I would manifest it. I'm going to be in these magazines. One day they'll write a story about me. And I was in awe. And Susan, hurry up working. On your break, you don't take the magazines and read them. And I'm like, and for me, I was lost in it. And I would be excited. That would make me want to go back and work there because I knew they were doing a new issue. So I was like, what are they writing about? Because we get to see it before everyone sees it.
Before everyone else sees it. Exactly.
So I was excited. And I remember I would go in the bins when they would throw the leftovers. I would get them and I would do vision boards of like designs. And I was like, you know, and I would do a vision board of what that looked like for me.
Wow.
So it's just like little things like that for me kept me going and kept inspiring me to desire for more. And one day in the mall walking, some lady found me. There were not a lot of black people then. You would literally spot us from a distance. Like you would see us, I swear, Maria. I'm being so raw and open right now.
You are. I love it. I love it. You know what? I absolutely love it. But can I tell you, I'm one of these people. People often say, like, I never see. I see people for who they are. I'm more of an eyes and smile person. So when you said that, the reason why I laughed is probably because, you know what, I'd be one of those people that would completely like not see and be like, oh, that's Suzanne. But for different reasons going, that's that gorgeous smile I remember when I saw it, you know. Yeah, I love it. So go on. And so so this lady spots you in the mall.
Spots me in the mall and she's like, we're looking for extras and actors. We're a modeling agency. My name is Lisa. I wrote this all in my book. Mm-hmm. My name is Lisa. We're looking for black people. We've been scouting black people. It's hard, Susan. There is a big film happening in Sydney right now. We need black people. Do you have brothers and sisters?
Oh my! Did you get offended when she said we need black people? We can't find them.
At first I was like, okay, she's Caucasian. Is this even safe? What if, like, I'm in a foreign country? Am I even allowed to speak to strangers like this? Is this okay? And then she goes to me, but my husband is Ghanaian. Try it. And I was thinking, it's a better option than the factory work. Let's be honest. I've been working in the factories. And I've done drama and Mr. Lara said, if acting is an option,
go down that road.
So I'm thinking it's an opportunity.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I love that attitude. Everything's an opportunity. Seize the moment. I love it.
And I gave her my time because I'm thinking she took her time to see me in this whole mall. Why we cross paths, I don't know. I'm one of those people who believes in divine appointments, divine interactions. I'm always super intentional with everyone I meet. And sometimes it doesn't have to be an opportunity to leverage on anything. It could be an encouragement. That person could have been maybe about to do something really bad or even jump. And your moment interacting with that person could change the trajectory of their life.
100%. I'm a firm believer of that too. You just never know. You never know.
And I always saw those moments for me like guardians in my universe, or this whatever is happening to me, like angels, whether they were Caucasians or whatever, it doesn't matter. I felt like that was my path, people guiding me and telling me. So I had no mentors. I had no mentors. I had no people who would tell me this is where to go, but I follow that light and I follow those conversations and I listen to my teachers. Most kids will not even care. They'll be like, Miss Aurelia, who? I listened. Like for me, that was like my guidance, my compass. And like in Africa, because when you're walking, you don't have maps.
No, you don't have Google Maps.
We don't have Google Maps. They'll tell you drive to that tree. You will see a mango tree. When you see a mango tree, next to it there is a banana. There's a lady selling bananas. Turn on your left. When you turn on the left, you will see a lady who lives in a small hut and she's got kids, but her kids are always playing there. Speak to that lady. She will guide you to a little road to where you will meet the professor.
Yeah.
That is Africa for you.
Hey, that's how I give instructions. That's the truth. I sit when people ask me, do you know how to get there? I go, okay, so you see that light post, so pass the light post. And then you'll see a little cafe. Turn left at the cafe. That's
oh my God.
But you know what? That's the best way to give instruction. And can I tell you, my dad, when I was growing up as a kid, my dad taught us very quickly to mark things when we're taking direction or what have you. And because we were very little and I was the oldest, so I was responsible for my brother and my sister. So I would also go and do the groceries. And obviously being in Australia as well, my parents worked very, very hard in the factories like, everyone else. And so I was left to my own devices after school. So if I had to go and get the bread or if I had to go and pick something up, and my dad was a sewing machine mechanic. So often there'd be local women that would need help with their sewing machines, or they'd need a packet of needles or bobby pin. Is it bobby? Not bobby pins. It's this round bobbies. I think they're called.
Yeah, bobby.
Bobbins. And he would say, okay, you see the bobbins on the kitchen thing and the needles, you have to take them to such and such's house. Now, when you go there, and he'd literally mark, and I'd follow his directions, you turn at this house, it's number 13, then you go straight, you turn down that road. And I was like 7 or 8, and I'd go, my little brother by my hand, and I'd go and drop off the needles and whatever she needed and then come back home and all the rest of it. It's the best way to learn, way to learn.
It was so visual for us because anyone who's in Africa, they'll know your nervements are not going to work. Don't even bother. You need a guide. That's why when you go to safaris, you need a tour guide.
Yeah.
You'll be eaten by a lion. Like
that's a real thing. That's a real threat, people.
Relying on your nervements to help you navigate those.
Google, you didn't tell me there was a lion here right now. No, that's awesome. So she spots you. You go home. You go, okay, I may as well give this a go. And
then I did. So I casted for the role.
Yep.
And it was my first opportunity to work in a film, and it was Wolverine.
Oh, with a spunky Hugh Jackman. We love Hugh Jackman.
Gosh.
Is he as good looking in real life as he is on TV? And is he as nice?
Like Hugh Jackman is one of the most kindest, humble, sweetest human beings I've ever crossed paths with.
Really? You know what? He comes across like that. When you listen to him in interviews and you watch him on TV, he actually genuinely comes across like that. And I've had this conversation with friends saying he can't be that nice. He's an actor. He's got to be putting this on. But apparently you're not the only one. And his wife, Deborah Lee Furness, is also incredibly gorgeous and nice as well. So that's so sweet. So how was it like working with him?
Oh my gosh, sis. So we auditioned, and then we got a part. It was between me and another girl. So they're like, we will take both of them on set. So they built this set out west They drove us in. They hid everything.
Yeah.
There was accommodation there, and we stayed in the next, like, they had like a built houses. So Hugh Jackman, Will.i.am, Ryan Reynolds. There's another famous Hollywood celebrity that was there.
Oh my gosh.
So we're like 5 African kids and them.
Wow.
And we would sit together during lunch, and Hugh Jackman would come and sit next to us. Will.i.am would play music on set, and we had like a month or so with them.
Wow.
Every day.
What an how old were you at this point?
Oh my gosh. I can't remember, but I look young. I've got photos. When you see both photos, you'll be like, she's young.
Wow. Did you know how famous they were at the time?
Not as much, but my agent told me, Lisa was like, this is huge, Suzan. When you go there, like, you know, I always follow instructions, because even like when we came on the plane, like, you gotta listen. Like, for us, you gotta listen, or else something would happen. Like, gotta follow that voice and let that voice guide you. She told us, like, quite huge, that this and that, and then when we got there, they told us all these stories. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is huge. But, you know, because you're still obviously naive, I think it helps you be comfortable.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because you don't know as much as anyone would know, like, you know, oh my gosh, this. And I've been fortunate. Like, I find myself in situations and I don't know people, their amount of status. And sometimes I'm just so innocent and I'm like, oh my gosh, tell me this. And they'll tell you, oh, I do this. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah. It's so true though. I think there's something beautiful about actually not knowing the extent of how some people are really I mean, and I can understand why, because if I was to meet any of those celebrities that you had the fortune of being around, I'd be totally starstruck, and I wouldn't even know what to say. I'd be like frozen, going, oh my God, you know. So it's actually quite nice if you don't know someone to that extent. You just kind of go with it and you actually appreciate them for who they are rather for the celebrity that they are.
They are, yeah,
right?
No, definitely. And it was just so comfortable, so funny. We had so much fun memories. He would come always and ask about us.
That's so sweet.
We were interesting. Like, he found us so interesting that every break time he would come and sit next to us. Like, he would fold his legs, we would sit on the floor and would just talk. And he would hug us. And I remember these moments would always, Suz, come here, and he would pat my head like that. And it was so sweet. Like,
oh, that's so sweet.
Like big brother vibes, you know, like just the very humble. Oh my God, Ryan Reynolds.
He's funny, isn't he? Is he actually funny in real?
Very funny. Everyone on that set was hilarious. But Ryan is such a child, like always constantly coming up with things. He's the one who would come up with swords and he would want to engage in things like that, but also just gorgeous.
Yeah.
This man is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And still very humble. Very humble. Yeah.
And I think it comes out just like it comes out in you know, given all your success and everything that you've accomplished here in Australia and abroad, you can still see the humility and in you, and you can really see how grounded you are, which is, you know, phenomenal given your success, and also such a great inspiration to young African girls, regardless of what part of Africa they're from, because you know, understanding, not that I understand the culture to the depth that you understand it, but I do understand the paradigms behind it, and especially for young women, and I've had the fortunate opportunities to talk to young girls that have, you know, escaped, you know, young marriages and have escaped some horrible things, and have, you know, come and set up beautiful lives for themselves and what have you. And so it's important, I think, to have role models like you for the young African women that are aspiring to get out of what they're in, or just become something bigger and better. Yeah. No,
definitely.
Now tell me, I'm gonna lead into your book now, because I know your book was also like a passion project for you as well, and I know there are a lot of women that influenced your life through your entire journey, not only as a fashion designer, actor, writer and rapper, but how did I guess my first question to you is tell me the inspiration behind your new book.
I think the inspiration behind my book, I felt like the people probably had assumptions of who Suzan is. And Suzan is a very shy girl. I know when she gets out and she wears these big balls, like ball gowns and the colors, for me, that's a disguise. That's for me to kind of like step out of this shyness. You know, I never grew up in a platform, like we were suppressed as children not to talk. You know, when you see your elders, you bow your head down, you kneel down, and, you know, you can't look up and speak and say things like that. So for me, I felt like when I would wear these big gowns and do all these things, it gave me the confidence to be like, hey,
I'm here.
Like, hey, like,
look at me.
Like, and it's not like I want the attention on me in that sense, but for me, that was like my superpower. Like when Superman wears his cape. And he wears that costume, there is a way it gives him that superpower to kind of like conquer the world. He could do it in his pajamas, but he doesn't.
That's right.
There is something about a costume that kind of like awakens that confidence in you and gives you the power to kind of just do that. And I felt like my book, it was time for me to tell the story, because sometimes people would feel like probably people didn't understand why is she like this, or why is it like that? How did I get into this? And I'm like, this is the honest truth. This is how I got to where I got. These are the people that have helped me along the way. These are the mentors. I remember there's a time I was so frustrated and I was looking for mentors. And I was like, you know what? Not everyone has the time to give you the time in the day to talk to you, to tell you, do this, do that. Or how are you going in your life? How are you going in your studies? And I started looking I remember Masha Hyans was one of my mentors. And I just observed from a distance. Take the positive things that are going to help you be that person. And I remember the first time seeing Masha Hyans on TV as Australian Idol judge. I'm like, one day, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's a Black woman on Australian TV. You gotta be kidding me. I'm like,
she's an icon. She's been.
For me, that lit something in my spirit that said, entertainment. You're welcome. You're welcome to this space, and there will be room for you. Whatever that looks like, there will be room for you. And for me, these little things like that, and I shared in this book to tell young children or to tell anyone, like sometimes our path will be different. Sometimes there's people who are privileged that would have someone say a good name for them and they would get the opportunity. But not everyone has that. No. And sometimes you find your own mentors, and sometimes your path will be difficult. Sometimes you get rejected. Sometimes you'll be told you're not good enough, you know, and that can only build your character. It shouldn't break you.
100%. Yes, I 100% agree with you on that, because you know what? You are going to face challenges. Doesn't matter what it is. I face them every day. We all do. Oh gosh, you know what? Yes. And it's easy to just throw the towel in sometimes and go, you know what? I'm done. But it is much harder to just kind of keep going and go, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll try this way now because I haven't tried this path, you know.
And to be honest, some people will look at this book and be like, oh my God, she's so successful. But when I look at myself, I'm like, no, I haven't touched everything that I want to do. I want to be on a Netflix series where you keep seeing it every day. You're like, Suzan's doing something, because I know majority of young people would be like, if Suzan can do it, I can do it. I get phone calls and parents reaching out to me. They're like, Suzan, if it's not for you, my child should have stopped this or should have taken this path. But every time I tell them about your story, Suzan, she stays in school. Suzan, she does this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that humbles me as an individual. So for me, my story, I feel like this is a beginning of our story, stories of many people. But I want to do more than just what I've done or what people have seen me do. I see myself do so much, and I want to be in a place that that allows privilege, I'll have the privilege and the power to welcome other people in those platforms
Yeah.
that didn't feel like they had that or had that mentor or had that person that I didn't have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Would you say that would define some of your success? Like, would you consider yourself successful if you were able to, I guess, change the
Yes.
change the concept of coming here as an African woman and being able to, you know, show other African girls, hey, you can do this. It's not going to be easy, but it can be done. I've done it.
Exactly. Like me seeing myself sitting, let me say, on a show, like, let me say, and I'm not saying it's what people need to do for me, but I'm saying, like, if I sat on a show, let me say, like The Voice, I'm not saying that I've got the biggest voice or whatever, or X Factor or the Max singer, and I'm judging it. Any Black person that sees that, and one thing I've realized is you don't, because I know where I've come from as an immigrant. I know me. I know Suzan.
Yeah.
And when you know the capacity of how many people influence around the world, sometimes it's a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
But to have that power to welcome when those auditions are there and I have a say, and I say, give this person an opportunity, and to see them be able to use that opportunity and build a platform for themselves. And for me, that's what I would call success, because it's got momentum. It's changing conversations. It's changing things. And for me, that's when I'll be like, now I can carry a little bit of that here and say, okay, she is on her way. But I'll still never say I've arrived. I would say I'm still.
You're still learning. You're still on your journey.
Growing.
You're still growing. You're still on your journey.
You get it, Marie.
I hear you. You know, like I think it's, you know, it's an incredible journey, and you know, you can tell that your background, your culture, your life, and everything that you've gone to get where you are today has shaped you and has shaped your career. It's shaped your designs. You know, it's shaped the people that you've met. That continual push to strive for better is, I guess, probably the pivotal things that you've decided, you know, I need to put this down on pen and paper and write it down. But other girls need to read this, or other people need to read this. It doesn't matter. There's something in there for everyone. So without spoiling the book, obviously, who can you tell us, like I know you said that, but you've had a lot of incredible women in your life, obviously your mum being one of them, and you've had aunties growing up in Africa when your mum came to Australia. But is there one or two that stand out for you that really kind of you look back and you go, you know what, if it wasn't for that woman that gave me that bit of, you know, advice or insight, I probably wouldn't be here today?
Yes. Delta Goodrem.
Oh, really?
Constant. I love that girl so much.
Why? You got to tell me why, because we all love Delta.
Yeah.
We all love Delta, but I want to know why for you love her so much.
We met a while back, and she's always been in my corner, and we've always been in similar rooms, you know, social, you know, events and things like that socially. And Delta will sometimes, it doesn't matter where she is. She could be on a tour, and she'll probably just like a post, and she'll be like, hey, keep going.
Oh, bless.
Oh, hey, you're doing great. And when we talk, she's always like, if you ever need anything, don't be afraid to reach out. And oh my gosh.
Oh, that is so sweet. We don't hear that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, don't cry. They're happy tears. Because we love Delta, and Delta is one of the most beautiful human beings. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her. I have seen her from a distance outside the Regent Theatre here in Melbourne, and I remember thinking, oh my God, she's spectacularly beautiful.
She's beautiful. So yeah,
but yeah, to hear you to see you tear up. What made you tear up?
Because it's easy to see someone's journey and judge it with whatever comes with that. Sometimes people can just be like, oh, I'm going to put you in this bracket. You're this girl, you're this girl, you're this girl. The daughter sees you, you know. And And it's nice when someone really sees you for who you are.
What do you think she sees in you that no one else sees?
She sees this girl that wants to make a change, and not just for herself, but also for like the younger people. And Delta is very, when she talks to you, she talks to you.
Yeah. She's got depth, Delta. She's been through a lot herself with her health battle.
And it's so funny because sometimes when she get concerts and she has extra tickets, she'll be like, "Sis, can I send you tickets so you can come?"
Oh,
her songs have been healing for me, even like because I've had like family that I've lost because of cancer and things like that. But like music wise, we connect on that sense. But the fact that for someone who is on her status and title and her being Delta, to always, it doesn't matter. We could be meeting at a coffee shop. Delta will come and say, "How are you, Susan? How was your day? What are you doing here? Okay. Yeah, I'm going here. Hey, have a good day, okay? Promise me. Keep going, okay?" And then she'll leave. But those moments have never changed.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it was last year, the year before. Delta has always been consistent.
Bless.
And I remember she was in midwives, and she sends me a small message. She's like, "Oh, I love that," But she's on a tour. Like she is doing the most, But she gets the time to kind of like reach out, and I love her.
That's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. You know what? Even just even if she wasn't a celebrity, the fact that she's just that warm and caring is just beautiful. I can see why you get emotional talking about her, because you know what? You add that beautiful, and as you said, that beautiful soul, that beautiful warmth, and then you realize that, she's one of Australia's queens of music, really. And you combine that together. It's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. So she's been one that has really influenced your push to keep going and keep moving.
Keep doing the hard work. And sometimes she'll say, "I was sick, I broke a toe, we want to tour, Susan. Everything was so hard." And when you meet, she would just be raw. She's so open. She
sounds really authentic.
Very authentic. She's like, "This happened on the tour, but you know what, sis? We keep going."
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's so good.
Seeing another woman champion another woman, but her living her most, and she impacts like a lot of people.
100%.
Music, but to also get her heart is just special. So for me, that I've always been grateful for relationships like that. That I don't have to talk about it. I know what that means to me.
Yeah.
And for me, it ignites that fire. Like, you don't ever give up. You don't ever give up. There is someone out there that needs you.
Is that the advice you'd give to many young African girls that are striving to become whatever it is they want to become, whether it's a doctor or a lawyer or a fashion designer or a rapper or a musician? Is it just never give up, keep going?
Keep going. And I think they tell us, like, as a creative, we are creatives. We're created to create things. As a creative, sometimes you'll find yourself doing music, or you're doing this honest all those creative aspects, right? Like, try them. Some of us are scared to try. Like, you keep hearing music and you keep doing this, and you keep hearing, like, you understand the piano, and you're everything about you is pushing you towards the piano. Play it in. Like, when you're in your holidays, take piano lessons. Try it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to touch the creative things that are happening in your body. Don't be afraid of that, because within that, there is a superstar that the world needs.
There is greatness within that. On a closing note, can you give us any insight on what you've got coming up next, or is it all a bit hush-hush?
Well, at the moment, I've been working on a film produced by a producer called Daniel. There's a few little films I've been immersing myself. That would be
I know. That's good. That's good. I can't wait to see them.
So there's a few films. There's a few Hollywood films. I've had little cameos in there. And there's a few feature films that I've had that I'm kind of like working on and in the process of filming. I can't really talk much about it because I've signed contracts, but
that's okay.
At the moment I'm just doing that, being open, trying any opportunities that come my way, and just trying things. And also I want to say that I'm very single and ready to mingle.
Oh,
I can't believe I said that.
Did you hear that, everyone? She is single and ready to mingle. Okay. And her Instagram is...
I don't know where that came from, Maria.
Do you know what? It's okay. You know what? You're putting it out there. We just said that. You're going to put it out there. Someone needs to hear that. Someone needs to hear that and go, wow, okay, I'm getting in touch. DM her. Or DM us and we'll DM her for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I just want to once again say thank you for talking to me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see your name on the movie screens once again, and I can't wait.
Hopefully, one day I will do the
we'll do a live podcast.
A live podcast.
Yeah,
yes.
hopefully you'll come and visit me in Melbourne. And then, you know what, I'll have to research and find some beautiful African restaurants. I know there's one around the corner from my place called Mama Blue. She's African, Mama Blue. I haven't gone there. And apparently it's always packed. It's this tiny little restaurant in Elwood in Melbourne.
Wow.
And she does her own spices and what have you. And every time I walk past, I keep saying, I need to go in there. I need to eat this food.
Okay, so, I'm going to make a trip just for you.
Please do. Please do.
But I also want to manifest that one day I'll do a movie of this book.
Please do. Please do. Well, I'm going to read the book and I can't wait to share it on socials as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. You've been awesome to talk to. Thank you for being so open and transparent and so authentic. Honestly, it's beautiful. Have a wonderful day. And for those that want to follow Suzan, well, she's obviously on Instagram at Suzan _Mutesi, or just jump on Dr. Google. And it'll lead you straight there. But jump on Amazon. Where else can people find this book, Suzan?
On Amazon, on Dmox, eBay, every bookstore. Type in Suzan Mutesi on Google and look for the books. Just say Suzan Mutesi books.
Yep.
Google's got you.
Google's got you. And they're both great. Both books, Unapologetically Black, her first book, and her second just released, The Immigrant That Found Her Unapologetic Voice.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you so much. Wow.